Hello and welcome to this special broadcast brought to you by Zim Papers Television Network. My name is Munatsi and I am at the TIMB stand right here at the Zimbabwe Agricultural Society 2019 edition, and I'm joined by the PR manager for the TIMB, Mr. Isheunesu Moyo. Ishe, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Now, can you start by telling us your mandate as the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board?
TIMB is there to ensure that there is orderly marketing in the selling of tobacco. We are also there to ensure that production and marketing are done to the best, that can be achieved. So we are there to advise the Minister of Agriculture on what needs to be done in the tobacco industry. We're also there to try and get markets for the tobacco that is produced in Zimbabwe.
I've noticed that the TIMB has made a deliberate effort to decentralize its operations to provincial level. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Okay,
we realize that with decentralized flows, there are a number of benefits. For instance, it reduces transport costs for the farmers. One, two, it also makes them not come and spend a lot of time in Harare. They can just go to the floor, sell their tobacco, go back home, and if there are any issues, then they can simply go back to the floor, which is close by. So we have floors in all the provinces that tobacco is produced, which is Mashonaland Central, Mashonaland West, Mashonaland East, and Manicaland. We have decentralized floors, but this is something that's ongoing. Want to even take it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Now let's look at the tobacco output. 2018 saw the country recording a record-breaking delivery, 252 kilos in counting, more than $733 million for 2018. Where are we in 2019?
You rightly said, in 2018 we had the highest production in the country, and we're really excited that for 2019 we have even gone beyond what we did in 2018, and the season is still ongoing. Currently we are now at 252.6, which is higher than what we experienced last season. Of course, this marketing season we had challenges to do with the late rains and other issues to do with the weather, so that in a way affected the quality of the crop that was produced, and as a result it also affected the prices that obtained this season. Because you realize last season our average price was $2.92 at the end of the season. Currently our average price is $2.02, which means farmers have managed to get about $500 million, but then the season is still ongoing, although the deliveries have declined. Because at the peak of the season we had about deliveries of about 5 million kgs per day, and currently we are ranging at about 400,000 kgs per day. So you can see our deliveries have declined and we are fast approaching the end of the season.
As the TIMB, obviously you are looking to stimulate the number of farmers that are on the ground farming tobacco. How has been the trend in terms of active growers over the years?
Currently, I think our active growers are sitting at over 150,000, and because tobacco farming is lucrative, we're getting more and more people coming into tobacco farming. This is, if we look at maybe when we started in about, looking at the statistics, in about 2000, we had just about over 2,000 farmers. So more and more people are coming into tobacco production because it's proving to be lucrative.
Looking at the contribution of the small-scale farmer and other grower classes, how has that been?
The majority of the farmers that we have currently are small-scale farmers. These are farmers who are doing on average between half a hectare to 2 hectares. And so, tobacco is paying even for people who are doing small portions of land. But what we're encouraging is for farmers not just to do tobacco, we want them to do diversification with tobacco, which means that we're encouraging them to do other crops so that they have food security as well.
And they spread their risk as well.
Definitely.
Looking at the small-scale farmer, obviously you have made inroads into preventing or reducing the effects of side marketing. What are some of the initiatives that you've taken as a regulatory board?
To try and avert side marketing, we encourage farmers. Okay, our initiatives promote farmers who have got a track record. So if you then go on to sell your tobacco using somebody else, then that compromises your track record. Because, for instance, we're giving out, we've got schemes like irrigation facilities, curing facilities, but we definitely look at somebody with a history. So if you want to enter or you want to benefit from these programs, you definitely need to sell with your own grower number so that we can then assess that, say, okay, this grower has been producing so much and has been earning so much, meaning that if we give them, say, a rocket band, they are somebody who is able to pay back. So if farmers then sell through somebody else, that somebody else is the one who's likely going to benefit because, you know, like for instance, last year we had the incentive, which will give like 12.5% of what you will have sold. And so if you sell to somebody who's a middleman, you definitely will have forfeited that. And also, this year there was the 50% US dollar component, and if you sell to somebody who just comes to your farm, that means that component you are bound to lose it.
Contract farming, how has this been significant?
Contract farming accounts for about 80 to 85% of the tobacco that's produced in Zimbabwe, and the auction system accounts for about 15 to 20% of tobacco. So contract farming has played a very pivotal role in tobacco production, and we have also come up with a program to complement contract farming through the Tobacco Input Credit Scheme, which has been put forward by the government. And the Tobacco Input Credit Scheme targets farmers who are not contracted. This is a way of trying to keep the auction system afloat, because you can see, like, over the years it was shrinking. So, like, we want to maintain a dual marketing system. So contract farming has done a lot, but we also want to make sure that the auction system is there. Because from the auction system we have what we generate the price matrix index, which from this, the average price for a grade at the auction system determines the average price, the lowest price rather, on the contract system. So if we maintain the auction system, then, you know, it's a way of safeguarding farmers that will have been contracted, because they can then be taken for granted if we don't have a way of setting the price at which they can sell their tobacco.
As we head towards the close, Ishe, the farming season, tobacco farming season for the coming year is already getting into motion. We're less than 2 months away from that. What is your advice to would-be farmers, and can we expect any new initiatives from TIMB?
Okay, my advice definitely is to try and encourage farmers to continue to improve their agronomic practices. That's one thing that is very key. We want them to continue to improve the quality of the crop, because currently we're getting on the side of volume, we're doing very well, but want to improve on the quality. So I would want to encourage farmers to get agronomic advice, so that, or, you know, use the extension officers that have been available to them, so that they can improve the quality of their crop. And I think that is what is most critical right now, so that we have good yield as well as quality, so that they can be able to obtain better prices.
Ishe, thank you so much for your time and for that insight into the tobacco and the operations of TIMB.
No, thank you.
Mr. Isheunesu Moyo, the PR manager for the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, giving us his insight into the deliveries that we experienced this year as a country, as well as their initiatives as a board in terms of safeguarding the interests of the tobacco farmer, also giving advice to the would-be farmers for tobacco this year to make use of the extension officers that are on the ground. This has been a broadcast brought to you by Zim Papers Television Network. We are at the Zimbabwe Agricultural Society, the 2019 edition, talking technology, innovation, modernization. Do stay tuned to ZTN.